Hello, Scrappy Peeps. Suzanna here today for Stash Bash, and this month we are putting a dent in our acrylic pieces. So that is the layout I created with 6 different acrylic pieces. So I took these pieces from Pink Fresh Studio, and the first thing that I'm going to do with them is I'm going to run 3 of them through different embossing folders through my Big Kick. And so by running it through an embossing folder, I am leaving some texture on the acrylic. So I wanted to show you how you can do different things with acrylic. Sure, you can pull it out of the package, you can slap it on the page and call it done. And that looks great. But I wanted to do something a little bit different with these acrylic pieces. So that's why I'm running them through the embossing folder. And so I'm pulling them up to the camera. And unfortunately, I had to fast forward this to make the video not so long, but I want you to see the texture that is in those pieces. There's actually 4 of them. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some alcohol ink, and I'm going to add some red to the red. And what you'll notice is that is a much brighter red now, and it gives some depth. As you can pull it in and see how that now has some shadow in the depth of what I ran through in the embossing folder there. Now I'm using some orange on the orange piece, and again I'm going to do tone on tone just to provide the depth. And so there you can see there's a little more orange in the shadows. And then for this red piece, I decided to take one of the distress stains, and it's a sort of a coppery bronze, and run that over. And then I intentionally took some paper towel, and I'm going to rub off that top layer. What I had really wanted was for a lot more red to show up on the top, but distress stain actually dries very quickly, so maybe an acrylic paint would have worked better for the effect. But you can still see the texture, and you can still see the red. It's just not quite as red as that red noted was up there. So that is what I've done with these acrylic pieces, and now I'm going to incorporate them into a layout. This is Stash Bash, so this is an old piece of, I believe this is Echo Park from like 2016, and I'm going to gut that in case I want to use some of the flowers, because I've used a fair amount of this collection, but if I wanted the flowers for additional decoration, I have that as an option to fussy cut. So I went upstairs and I sewed with thread just twice around the square border, just to give a little bit of depth, so that there was a transition between this much darker border and my stark white cardstock there. And I'm just going to put adhesive on the back and adhere that in so that you have a 1/2 inch border going all the way around. Now this photo is of my family at Thanksgiving. My husband and our family hosts Thanksgiving every year. So my sister and her boys drive down from Maryland, and my mom and dad this year joined us from Indiana, which is a big deal because usually my mom and dad stay in Indiana and celebrate with my brother. But we were able to have them this year, which was a really nice change for all of us. So I want to put a frame around just a little bit more cardstock, because there really is not a whole lot on this layout other than a whole bunch of ephemera and these acrylic pieces. So I just wanted to add a little bit more color, and I'm going to take these 6x6 paper pieces and just create a little frame, and I'm actually going to do a diagonal so that the colors you can see there, so it's still a rectangle around the picture, but it is divided between orange on the right and brown on the left, and not equally divided. So that is going to be the frame around that photo there. And so I'm just going to use these acrylic words, and they're going to be title, decoration, journaling in so many ways. They serve a multi-purpose. And I tried to arrange the words so that they weren't in a straight line down, so that you had some movement down the page, but also so that you can see how that O-snap becomes sort of an L bracket to the photo and kind of frames the photo. That was the idea there. So I have pulled all sorts sorts of ephemera from my stash. I've got Thanksgiving stuff, I've got fall stuff, I've got color coordinating goodies, and so the way that I store my stuff, I keep all of my Christmas stuff together, I keep all of my fall stuff together, I keep all of my spring stuff together. So if it's very themed, that's what I'm going to do. If they're just generic words like noted, good life, this stuff was in with my Pink Fresh Studio box. I don't have enough pink. I have enough Pink Fresh Studio that it's got its own box, and that's kind of how that gets stored. And so I am just going to put the photo where it is, and I've got a lot of white space on that right hand side, which is absolutely fine, because I'm going to really totally load up this left hand side with these words and just some fun fall Thanksgiving-y embellishments. I am using my Prima glue pen to adhere these. You can actually, so for the word happy, if you look at the close-ups, I used my Martha Stewart blue glue pen, and you can see the lines that I applied in order to adhere them. So I then changed to my Prima glue pen, and again, if you look at the close-ups, you can't see the lines. So I really love that Prima glue pen for small detail gluing as well as for gluing acrylic things. I also really like it for vellum because you can't really see where I've applied the adhesive as long as you apply it uniformly. And now, so these are stickers from last year, actually probably 2 years ago, Simple Stories. And I'm just, I started off trying to put things tone on tone, and I will leave some things tone on tone, so I'll stick orange on orange, but I actually like the way, I needed a little bit more red in the layout, because really the only red you see is that noted. The O snap really picked up that brown copper color, so I wanted to incorporate more color into it, and so you will see that I go and mix up the colors as well. I wanted to add another word, so you can see I put together, happy together, and so I wanted to put family under photograph so that photograph there made sense. To me, things that are on my page have to make sense. They have to be relevant to either the topic or to me, flowers and hearts are generic, so that's obvious, but photograph, well, duh, it's a photograph. So I wanted to put family in because it is a family photograph. So noted because it's Thanksgiving, happy together because we were happy to be together, and having really a good life and the best time, and O snap is obvious, and that's why I put family for photograph there. And it also enabled me to pull in that red in that other word in there. I also felt that by not having that red at the bottom, that I was losing some weight at the bottom of the page, because that red and the together really stand out. And by putting that family, I was able to add that weight that balanced out the top of the layout there. And we have the little squirrel and just all sorts of random little things. Some of this goes way, way, way back in my stash. That's old Imaginis from when I designed for them, which was, oh, I don't even know, 4 or 5 years ago now at this point. And you can see those letters that I don't end up using, but that are sitting on the trimmer on the right over there. That's Chic Tags, which was also probably even longer than that. So just a good mix of stuff from my stash that's more Imaginis, and so I put words in throughout, and that good life is a label that's just covering the O's, but you know that they're O's, so covering that much of the letter was okay to me. It doesn't have anything in it yet, and you'll see in the final photos that it still doesn't have anything. I put the date by putting 2017. We all know when Thanksgiving is, and my journaling is going to end up being hidden journaling because I think I might have omitted this part of the process, but I originally put my journaling, I typed it on a 4x3 card, and that 4x3 card was sitting at the bottom in that white space on the right hand side underneath the photo, and it really detracted from the stuff that was going on that left hand side. You really need that white space on the right hand side and that emptiness to balance the busyness of that left hand side. So I ended up putting a glassine bag underneath my photo, which I tucked that journaling into. And so that's where the journaling ends up being on this page. And I started to tell you something and I totally digressed in trying to explain to you, oh, the date. So I have the date up there, and my journaling is now under my photo, so I'm not quite sure what to put into that good life. I think I might put the location there, because while I know where we were now, the kids may not know where we were 10, 15, 20 years from now when they go to look at this picture. So I think that's what I might put in there, but I haven't come up with a concrete plan of if that is where that will go or not. So I'm just going to continue to embellish this page. I do not think you are going to see the journaling process, because a fair amount of that happened off camera, but you've seen what I've done with the acrylic pieces, which is what this Stash Bash month is all about. I am going to rearrange some of the pieces that you've seen me put down in the video to the end of the final process of this layout. And the only reason that I rearrange them is for balance on the page. I want dark things to move your eye down through all of those fun acrylic pieces there. So that, my friends, is my October Stash Bash layout using acrylic pieces. Be sure to hop over to my friends' YouTube channels and see what it is that they have to share. I'll link everybody else who's participating in the description box down below. Be sure to come back next month for our final Stash Bash of the year. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to leave them in the box down below. Thanks for stopping in today. Have a great day. Take care.